if it's 13 to 16-year-old victim, or the victim was 17 or older and not under custodial authority. CSC 1, if the victim is between 13 and, that doesn't make sense. This section only applies to the following. And CSC 3, an assault with intent to commit penetration. But it's really the age of the victim that matters. You need the 13 to 15 is the most important thing. Also for the Romeo and Juliet hearings, it's important to note that the complaining witness does not have to attend. They can write a letter to the court objecting, and that's admissible because the rules of evidence don't apply. So now you have hearsay coming in. You don't have a right to confront the complaining witness. It can be really messy, I foresee.
If it applies to CSC first degree, on page 15 you have it spelled out.
Right.
And you have a 13 to 15-year-old victim, and you have a defendant who is related to her by blood or affinity.
That would work.
But not more than 4 years older. You're saying that if their uncle has sex with his niece, and there's only 4 years difference between the two, if they can prove it's consensual, the defendant does not have to register as a sex offender.
Right. But can you imagine how hard it's going to be to prove consent in that one? I think that one's going to be really hard. And that's a good point, too. I find it's important to protect your reputation. I mean, you have to be a zealous fighter, and I'll take cases where other attorneys don't, but I won't take a case if there's no chance at all. Because I'm wasting my client's money. I can't tell you you might say, okay, is this just a motion? Your client will come in and all of this will be reopened. This is like a scar or a wound that it's healed over and you rip the scab off and you pour salt in it. It is stressful. I've had clients on the verge of breakdowns just because I'm filing a petition for them, because they'll walk into court, they haven't been there in 10 years, start shaking. So don't put them through it if there's no chance. If the victim says it was forced and you've got everybody saying that and you don't have anything to show it wasn't, I don't know. I wouldn't take it personally.
You said about the victim writes a letter that doesn't show up, and the victim writes a letter, would you then be able to subpoena them to be able to cross-examine?
No, it says in there, victim does not have to attend a hearing and may submit letter to the court they can use to determine consent. So I don't see.
But it would seem then that it's not required that the complaining witness show up. However, wouldn't they still have to respond with subpoena?
I don't know. I haven't done that yet. Maybe, but then I could see a prosecutor saying, "Well, Judge, the law says the victim doesn't have to attend, so she doesn't want to, so they can't force her to testify."
But then that goes to legislative interpretation.
Yeah, I know.
What did they mean by that? That she can't be compelled to attend, or she's not required to attend in order for her to submit something?
But if you have a complaining witness who doesn't want to attend, I don't think she's going to be that helpful, even if you subpoena her then to court. She's probably going to, sink your case. Right. I know. That's an interesting point. I don't know how a court's going to look at that yet. I haven't done one, these Romeo and Juliet hearings.
And have you had a chance? I noticed in here you mentioned that if you hold a preliminary exam, because
that's a good point.
The issue of Romeo and Juliet about consent may be an issue as to registration, then it's your position that you feel you can ask the question of consent.
Yes.
For that limited purpose.
Right. That's an important case. On new cases, a lot of times we'll say, well, let's waive the CSC 3 preliminary exam because you don't have a defense if she consented. What better time to get the complaining witness to testify under oath that, yes, it was consensual. He did not force me. He did not coerce me. I was a willing participant. Just to ask 3 or 4 quick questions. Now you have it preserved, so when you have to have this Romeo and Juliet hearing, if your client doesn't get HIDA, you can say, Judge, here, she's already testified. We don't need a hearing. We can stipulate. This is important, too. This is another reason the judge changed his mind 2 weeks ago, because he said, I will deny your motion without prejudice. And I had to go back and explain to the judge, that doesn't help, because the law says you can only file 1 petition. That's it. If it's been heard in court and denied, you can't go back for a second bite at the apple. So I said, Judge, you know, he's out of luck unless I appeal it. Can you let, you know, I've got the complaining witness here, and so that one was a big thing to the judge, let him reopen it. So you got to make sure when you file this petition, that's your only chance to do it. I've had a client who called me, filed one on his own behalf, didn't have half of the stuff he was supposed to. I said, withdraw it, because it hasn't been heard or decided, hire an attorney, and then file it. Because you don't want to, this is your life, you don't want just to go and do it and think you can walk in there like you can with an expungement. A lot of times, like you have pro se clients doing the expungements. This is a lot different than that. Don't let them think they can do it by themselves. I'd highly recommend any lawyer to do these.
Was your win on the basis of a motion for reconsideration? Is that the way you get around the second filing of the petition?
Right. Yeah, because you can do a motion to reconsider. That's how we reopened it. Okay, here is what the registry you have to give. Right now, by, what is it, September 12th, all registrants have to give a palm print. And so I'm getting all these calls from registrants say, why do I have to give a palm print? And they have to. And I had a registrant tell me that they said, it's like being rearrested because the palm print machine is behind the counter. And the registrant, you know, just imagine, if they have to go 4 times a year, walking in the police station, hi, I'm here to verify as a sex offender. Everybody can hear in the lobby. They'll yell out your name and say, come on, you can come verify now. They do that for palm prints. And then the person has to come behind the counter in the police station. They're patted down because it's a secure area in the police department. They're patted down for weapons, treated like a criminal, put on a bench usually with the other people who are handcuffed. They're not, I haven't heard of anybody getting handcuffed yet. But it can take hours. So it's important to understand how it feels to be a registrant. They are not treated well. And I'm not going to debate whether we should have any registry. I do agree that we should take a lot of the individuals off for a low risk, but they're all treated like scum and embarrassed and it's stigma. What happens for registrants, I had a client for teenage sex, worked at Burger King. He was doing such a good job, the assistant manager said, we want to promote you. And he's like, no, don't promote me, because he knew they'd do a further background check. And he's like, no, I don't want it. They did it anyways, he was fired. I said, if you can't, you got to tell judges that. If the person can't get a job at Burger King, what are they supposed to do for the rest of their lives? Same as McDonald's corporate handbook says in it, we will not hire sex offenders. And they will now ask on a lot of applications. I had, and this is what's important, to ask your clients, tell me all the negative things that have happened to you because of on the registry. They cannot live in subsidized or government subsidized housing or in group homes usually. So if you have somebody who is got developmental disability or somebody who needs long-term care, I don't know what they're going to do. There was a case about 4 or 5 years ago where there was a homeless shelter in Grand Rapids. It was 1,000 feet, within 1,000 feet of a school, so they couldn't let sex offenders come and stay the night. There was a sex offender who tried on a winter night in Michigan about 4 or 5 years ago. They said, we can't take you. They found that man's body by a tire the next morning. That's why we're having, in Florida it's a huge problem, where groups of sex offenders are residing under bridges. Because think about it, a sex offender can't live within 1,000 feet of a school. Do you know how hard that is in some places to find it? Apartment complexes can deny residents, or because it's not a protected class. So they, it's not gender, it's not race. No, you can discriminate against a sex offender.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is John Comer. I run Tremors in Greensville. I'm an ex-offender. I just happened to walk here by luck and by chance. I did 13 years in prison for shoplifting. I stole a pair of gym shoes and a set of bed sheets from Sears at Oakland Mall. Since I've been home from prison, I was a job developer. I put about 15,000 people to work since I've been home from prison. You can Google me and you see what I do. I got recruit for over 500 companies. And so one of my biggest problems as being a job developer is not only just placing people with criminal records in jobs, but more so the sex offenders is really very difficult. know that you are very familiar with this new American Jobs Act. I'm asking, first of all, I want to say that I have space for you. Are you Mrs. Cheryl Carpenter?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have space for you to make a public forum for this on one of the busiest intersections. In fact, I control 2 intersections, or have access to 2 intersections in Detroit that are really, really busy, that happen to cater to the parole population and probation population. It would be nice if this body could put something in a public forum so we can begin to warn our citizens and our young people about making these types of mistakes that can affect the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here today. So I think this is a blessing. If you look at the White House Facebook page today, you're going to realize that I was just arguing with a lady on Facebook about people going to prison for sex for this type of issue, and then God blessed me to be here today. So thank you. I just want to hear the rest of it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's a good point, too, that what you say about education, our parents, our youth, our communities don't know this is illegal. My boys, my dad knows for sure. They're 5 and 6. Those poor boys are going to be drummed when they get a little bit older. No sex with somebody under 16. No sex. Date older girls. No, seriously, they're going to bring home like the 20-year-olds. I'm going to say, that's fine, Bradley. I don't care. Because we have to educate our public. And I think one of the, I know Jessica Cooper went to some schools and started educating about sexting. Because that will land you on the registry. But how do girls, and that's under 18, because those are the child sexually abusive material. So a 17-year-old who can legally consent to sex cannot take a naked picture of herself. That's illegal. Nobody knows. I was telling a mother at the bus stop yesterday. I tell everybody. I just did fun. She's a 5-year-old. She's like, wow, I didn't know this.
They can't take certain nude photographs of themselves.
Right. Well, most of them are.
You take some.
Some, just tell them no, because if they do, if a girl takes a naked picture of herself, that's manufacturing child porn. If she sends it to your son, and your son has it on his cell phone and he doesn't immediately delete it, that's possession of child porn. And if your son sends it to his friends, that's distribution. Everybody is going to, and that's on the registry, that's a listed offense. Well, now it's just for possession, it's tier 1. But for other stuff, and it's really, that's another thing. In juvenile court, if they go to juvenile court, consent calendar will keep them off the registry.
Is the girl on the sex offender?
Yes, I know Jessica Cooper said we're going to prosecute all of them. Girl, boy, any of the friends.
Okay, what about when, in Mexico, said, what if they had sex? Are they going to start prosecuting girls for having sex with their 15?
I don't see girls getting prosecuted as much as the boys. And if you get 2 underage people, I don't see the girl getting, because they could prosecute both, but I don't see it. I don't see the boys getting charged. Yeah.
Is this something that's required by the Adam Walsh Act, or is this something that the Michigan legislature put in there about this?
Oh, that's Michigan legislator. Yeah, that's under the listed offenses. So just,
it could be changed by then.
It could be, but now we have to substantially comply with Adam Walsh Act, and I think that is mandated. Yeah, I know that was required. I think it is. I don't know for sure, but. So it's important to educate our youth and the parents. I don't know if any of you have ever gotten calls from, my son's charged with CSC 3. I didn't know that was wrong. I get so many of those, and it's heartbreaking because of all the stuff they can't do, the housing. Can't live within 1,000 feet of a school. I had a client who had teenage sex, lived in Novi in an apartment with his wife and their newborn son. It was within 1,000 feet of a school. A cop came to the door, knocked on it, and said, you got to leave within 24 hours. And he became homeless at that point. He just went from car to friend's house to everything. Parents, you got to think about this too. And these are things to tell the judge when you're doing these motions. This one is a good one. Because you got the young person having sex as a teenager, you got to tell the judge, this person, when they become a parent and have a family, cannot participate in their child's school activities because they're violating the school safety zone. So you got a parent their children become the victims. I had a client whose teenage daughter, they have internet safety classes now. They said, Google your, they go on the registry now in high school. Put in your zip code and your address. Guess who pops up? Her dad.